People keep telling me I'm a Hufflepuff. And for obvious reasons, that's very upsetting. So in an effort to prove that I am in fact a Slytherin, like I always say to people, I'm gonna take some quizzes online, gather as much data as possible, and finally put this discussion to bed. We're not just gonna be taking one either, because that can be misleading. We're gonna take a bunch. Starting with the official Wizarding World one as sort of a baseline. So let's jump into quiz number 1. Okay, let's get sorted. Into Slytherin. Okay, dawn or dusk. I always get confused between these two, so probably not going to be a Ravenclaw. I am a bit more of a night owl. This looks like the sunset compared to dawn being the sunrise, so we're going to go for dusk. Which of the following do you find the most difficult to deal with? Loneliness, boredom, hunger, being ignored, or the cold? I live in England, so the cold, definitely not a problem. I don't feel lonely very often. I have a partner that I live with and a puppy, so that's not really an issue. I'm not often bored. Like, if I'm ever bored, I'll just make a TikTok. Hunger, I'm more of a snacker than like letting myself get hungry, so... And I'm the friend that's rubbish at texting back, so being ignored isn't really an issue either. I think of all of them, it would probably be loneliness, because... even though I don't have to deal with it, if I did, I think I'd maybe struggle, so we'll take loneliness. If you were attending Hogwarts, which pet would you choose to take with you? Cats, toads, or owls? Owls are pragmatic to deliver your mail. Toads seem pointless. Cats are cute and good companions, so we'll take cats. What kind of cat? A ginger cat? A white cat? A Siamese cat? A tabby cat? Or a black cat? We're going ginger. My puppy is ginger, so it fits. If you could have any power, which would you choose? Really quickly, before I jump into my answer, I tweeted something about this recently. If you have the power to pick any superpower and you pick flying, we are not the same. Flying would expend energy, much like running, and nobody likes running. I don't even know if that's going to be an option here, but I just had to get that off my mind. Follow me on Twitter for more in-depth philosophical questions. Okay, read minds. Change the past. Time control is always my go-to for a superpower. Invisibility is a cool one. Talking to animals would be cool. Superhuman strength or change your appearance at will, that would be cool as well. But I think change the past is such a great utility. From correcting big mistakes to just little things like if I'm playing a game of football and I make the wrong pass, just quickly change it and make the right pass and suddenly I'm the greatest footballer in the world if I'm always making the best decisions. You enter an enchanted garden. What would you be most curious to examine first? Toadstools, bubbling pool, silver-leafed tree, statue of an old wizard with a twinkling eye. Okay, toadstools creep me out. Bubbling pool, absolutely not. Think probably the golden apples. A muggle confronts you and says that they are sure you are a witch or a wizard. What do you do? Ask them what makes them think this. Tell them you are worried about their mental health. Agree and ask whether they'd like a free sample of a jinx. Agree and walk away, leaving them to wonder whether you're bluffing. Okay, well, I mean, that would stop me from drawing attention to myself again if I've done something to give it away. Tell them you're worried about their mental health. I mean, that's just gaslighting, and I would never. Agree and ask whether they'd like a free sample of jinx is just mean. I feel like maybe this, like maybe agree, but make it sound almost sarcastic and then just walk away. I think that's what I'd do. After you die, what would you most like people to do when they hear your name? Ask for more stories about your adventures. Miss you, but smile. Think with admiration of your achievements. I don't care what people think of me after I'm dead. It's what they think of me while I'm alive that counts. Now that kind of resonates, honestly. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I don't want to be a dick and just be like, leave the world to be awful, but I won't be around to know what they think of me, so it doesn't really make a difference. In a couple of generations, no one alive will remember that I even existed, so unless there are like new archaeologists that examine TikToks somewhere in the future. Okay, so I'm not super adventurous. I don't think this is an option. Miss you but smile is kind of a nice one to at least know that people loved you while you were around. Think with admiration of your achievements, not really. Don't care what people... I think it's probably that one. I feel like I'm quite pragmatic about it. Sorting Hat is ready for its decision. That's quicker than I thought it would be. Okay, come on. Let's go. Oh yes, hell yeah. Getting a point early in the game is huge. And you know what, those questions were abstract enough that I don't think anyone can accuse me of trying to sway my answers one way or the other. Okay, we're gonna move on to some more classic BuzzFeed quizzes now. Less official, but still important in the data gathering process. I feel like they might need a little bit of help since they're not the official quizzes, so just to guide them a little bit. Okay, so question 1, you've made it to Hogwarts, which means you've already bought a wand from Ollivander's, but what material is at its core? Phoenix, dragon, or unicorn hair? I think, okay, I think Phoenix is the coolest of these three animals. They're all pretty cool, but I think a Phoenix takes it. During the end of year exams, you notice that one of your classmates was using an enchanted quill. What a cheater. You come top of the class anyway, but they are second. What do you do? I would not tell the professor. I would not encourage them to admit it. I would not give them a high five. I'd probably just do nothing. I probably wouldn't have told them, I don't like these answers. I would always have done nothing whether I was top of the class or not. Okay, you would be most hurt if a person called you weak, ignorant, unkind, or boring. I think ignorant. I pride myself on being ignorant. What's the opposite of ignorant? Educated, wise, open-minded. Let's go with ignorant. I prefer that. You're locked in a duel with a skilled opponent. They fire an unknown spell at you, and you shout, I would obviously, if it's unknown, I would shield myself. Protego. Like, if they've already fired another spell at me, why am I going to fire a spell back? Theirs will hit first. I have to defend myself. It's the obvious option. It's your 5th year at Hogwarts, and you've received a howler from your parents. What for? For sneaking into the Forbidden Forest at night on a dare. Dare, not really one for peer pressure, honestly. Getting caught cheating on my divination OWL. Again, probably wouldn't cheat, although it is only divination, so if there was ever a subject. Being put in detention after I was caught in the library after hours. Probably not. I'd never do anything to warrant a howler. Well, I did get all the way through school having only ever had 1 detention, so I'm worried these answers are giving Hufflepuff Ravenclaw, but we have to be honest, we have to respect the process. Which of these Dumbledore quotations speaks to you? Pity the living and above all those who live without love. Words are, in my not so humble opinion, our most inexhaustible source of magic. It matters not what someone is born, but what they choose to be. It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live. It's one of the middle two, honestly. Pity the living feels a little bit like, should we want to die? And it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live. Like, I get the concept they're pushing here. I feel like dreaming is important. So I do think what they grow to be is very important. The whole nature versus nurture thing. The whole you can be raised one way but you can choose to go another. I've got a literature degree. Look at all these books behind me. How could I not pick the words being ironic that I can't use words and I want to pick the quote about words being our most inexhaustible source of magic? Oh, it's given Ravenclaw. Not happy about it. Which of these most accurately describes your relationship with your closest friends? I love surrounding myself with people. The more friends I have, the better. I do like being around people, but I also like being around just myself. I have a few very close friends that I would trust with my life. That's a good one. I tend to be wary around new people, so don't make new friends often. I'm not that wary around new people. I like to throw myself in when I'm meeting new people. I find myself becoming friends with people who can help me succeed. That, I feel like as a Slytherin, that's what I'm supposed to pick, but a few close friends that I would trust with my life. Which of your skills are you most proud of? My ability to absorb new information, my ability to make new friends, my ability to get what I want, or my ability to keep secret. I think it's new information. I don't retain the information very well, but I do absorb it in the first place. Oh, maybe that's false. Maybe it's not absorbing new information. I feel like I'm good at meeting new people and making new friends. I am persistent. Get what I want feels manipulative, but I am quite persistent. Or my ability to keep secrets. I don't like secrets. They make me nervous. I think it might be this one, but not for the manipulative side of it, for the perseverance side. First Quidditch match of the season is approaching and you can't wait to get involved. What role are you playing? Seeker, Chaser, Beater, or in the crowd? I can't believe Keeper isn't an option, but I think Chaser, of all 4. I know it might surprise a lot of you, but I do play sports. I play football a couple of times a week. So I wouldn't just want to be in the crowd. We're doing Chaser. We're going Chaser. There's too much pressure on you as the Seeker, and Beater is just brute force, which would not be... I'm more of a, like, up here kind of player. Being part of the team, working on strategy, Chaser fits best. You're allowed a pet at Hogwarts, an owl, a cat, or a toad. A cat, again, just like last time. Owls are pragmatic for sending mail, and that's fine, but the school has an owlery anyway, you can just use theirs. Toad, the only toad we see is Neville's, and Trevor keeps running away. So cat. We'll take a cat. It's a good companion. It's Saturday and you finished your homework and you have some free time, so you decide to spend some time away from your common room. Where do you go? Forbidden Forest, the library, the kitchens, or the room of requirement. If anyone's not picking the room of requirement, that can be anything you want. You want an amusement park, you want a gym, you want a football pitch, all there. You want a stadium with a hologram performance from Taylor Swift for 2 hours? You got it. The room of requirements is the only answer. What would you see in the mirror of Erised? This is such a deep question. Myself surrounded by riches, myself surrounded by my friends and family, myself knowledgeable above all, or myself experiencing a marvelous adventure. Okay, hear me out before you judge me. I think I'm picking riches, because surrounding myself by my loving family and friends isn't like my deepest desire, because I can just sort of do that anytime anyway. Knowledgeable above all doesn't like being the smartest in the world isn't really like I want to be learned, sure, but the smartest in the world doesn't do it for me really. I'm not super adventurous. I genuinely think, right, hear me out. Money doesn't buy happiness is true to an extent, because the things that bring you the most joy are not the things that you buy. But the things that you have to use money for, if they're taken care of, then you can spend all your time and focus on the things that do bring you joy that you don't have to pay for. First, you have to remove the stress of the things you do have to pay for: mortgage, food, the ability to travel, trying new hobbies, taking the people you care about to places they'll like. Give me riches and I will take care of the rest. That's what I'm saying. Okay, which of these magical events would you most like to experience? The Triwizard Tournament, the Quidditch World Cup, the Yule Ball, or Hogwarts at Christmas? Absolutely not the Triwizard Tournament. First of all, I wouldn't want to compete because I'd probably die. Second of all, I wouldn't want to watch because you can't see anything. They're all down in this really deep lake. Can't see it. Oh, they're in this maze with 15-foot high hedges. Can't see it. The Quidditch World Cup would be cool. The Yule Ball, I'm not huge on balls. That sounds wrong. I'm not big on like dances and things like that. Like galas and stuff, I just get a bit of like imposter syndrome when you have to like dress up in a tux and stuff. Christmas at Hogwarts would be cool. It's between that and the Quidditch World Cup. Oh, this is really hard because I feel like the Quidditch World Cup is going to be exciting and intense and fun, whereas Christmas is going to be wholesome and sweet and charming. Oh, it's tough. It's really, really close. I think I'm gonna take Christmas at Hogwarts just because I have slight problems with the way that Quidditch works. You're having trouble mastering a new spell, and you've decided to ask for help. Who do you go to? Professor, a house ghost, your smartest friend, or the library to figure it out yourself? I think, look, go to the smartest person you know. That's going to be the professor. Ghost feels like a weird choice. My smartest friend, I would hope, was already trying to help me anyway if we're friends. And the library, I'm assuming if I'm having trouble, I've already tried reading about it. I don't know how that's going to help that much. Choose a Deathly Hallow. It's the invisibility cloak, without question. Which path do you intend to follow after leaving Hogwarts? Join the Ministry, traveling for a while, settling down and starting a family, or continuing to work hard in order to achieve as much as possible? Traveling. I mean, I want to travel anyway as a muggle, but can you imagine traveling around the wizarding world? Oh, the things you'd see and the people you'd meet. Okay, finally, we know the Sorting Hat takes into account your preferences. So which Hogwarts house do you feel you identify with most closely? Well, it's got to be Hufflepuff. Joking. It's Slytherin, of course. Okay, we've got 30% Ravenclaw, 29% Gryffindor, 27% Slytherin, and 14% Hufflepuff. Ravenclaw would be my second choice if I had to pick which house I was going to be in. If I couldn't be in Slytherin, fat lot of good this did. If I couldn't pick Slytherin, I think I'd pick Ravenclaw as the next one. At least it wasn't Hufflepuff. Okay, it seemed like the quizzes needed a bit of extra help, so we've thrown on a Slytherin jumper just to nudge them in the right direction. Okay, up next we've got the extended Sorting Hat quiz. It's like an extended version of the Pottermore one, so let's see how we go. Dawn or dusk? Again, I've forgotten which one it was already, and we answered that like 20 minutes ago. I think it was dusk. Forest or a river? I think we're going in the forest. The moon or the stars? The stars, all day. I live near Dartmoor, and it's such a clear sky when you go out there at night time, and I could just lay there and look at the stars for hours, I swear to God. I don't know anything about the stars. I couldn't identify any constellations, for example, but they're nice to look at. Which of the following would you most hate people to call you? Ordinary, ignorant, cowardly, or selfish? Ignorant. Again, open-minded. Not when it comes to Hogwarts houses. I'm closed-minded, I'm only a Slytherin. But on everything else, I like to think I'm open-minded. How would you like to be known to history? Wise, good, great, or bold? I guess good. Great feels egotistical. Wise? I'm not that wise, let's be honest. And probably not that bold. I think the good. Given the choice, would you rather invent a potion that would guarantee you love, glory, wisdom, or power? Money. Money. For me, love is like, you put it out into the world and it finds its way back to you with your family and your friends and your partners and stuff. So I wouldn't want a potion to guarantee that. I also think you need to do a lot of like self-work before you can find love in another person. So again, if I'm having that from a potion before I've put the work in myself, it feels like it wouldn't last. You know what I mean? It's unearned. Glory, maybe, but to what extent? Does that just mean that I am successful in anything I try? Because that would be cool. Wisdom, again, just doesn't float my boat. And power, with great power comes responsibility, right? I don't deal well with responsibility, but going for glory. Once every century, a flutterby bush produces flowers that adapt their scent to attract the unwary. If it lured you, it would smell of crackling fire, the sea, fresh part, the sea. Absolutely the sea. 4 goblets are placed before you. Which would you choose to drink? The foaming, frothing, silvery liquid that sparkles as though containing ground diamonds? The smooth, thick, richly purple drink that gives off a delicious smell of chocolate and plums? The golden liquid so bright it hurts the eye, which makes sunspots dance around the room? Why would anyone pick that? The mysterious black liquid that gleams like ink and gives off fumes that make you see strange visions? Okay, I think it's got to be the chocolate one. Smooth, thick. Purple puts me off a little bit. I feel like if things are bright in colour, they're usually like bad. The sparkly liquid would be cool. It's sort of giving champagne vibes, but I think I'd take like a nice smooth fruit smoothie over champagne. Okay, what kind of instrument most pleases your ear? The violin, the trumpet, the piano, or the drum? The piano. the piano. Big fan of Ludovico Einaudi. 4 boxes are placed before you. Which would you try and open? The small tortoise shell box, embellished with gold, inside with some small creatures that seem to be squeaking. A gleaming jet black box with a silver lock and key marked with mysterious runes that you know to be the mark of Merlin. That's cool. The ornate golden casket standing on claw. Absolutely not a casket, ever. No, 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 no. A small pewter box, unassuming and plain. That sounds boring. I think it's gonna be the Mark of Merlin. A troll has gone berserk in the headmaster's study at Hogwarts. It's about to smash, crush, and tear several irreplaceable items and treasures. In which order would you rescue these objects from the Trolls Club if you could? So first, the cure for dragonpox, then the student records going back 1,000 years, and finally a mysterious handwritten book of strange runes. So I think it's got to be the cure for dragonpox, then the runes, and then the student records. So dragonpox first, then the runes, and then the records. Yeah, I just feel like records of students going back 1,000 years aren't that important. How often as an adult do I really care about what was in my student file, or would that be consulted? Not often. Which would you rather be? Envied, imitated, trusted, praised, liked, or feared? I think trusted. If you could have any power, which would you choose? Read minds, invisibility, superhuman strength, speaking to animals, changing the past, or changing your appearance? Still changing the past. That's the obvious choice. There is very little you can't fix with that power. A loved one of yours gets killed, rewind time, stop them from being in that position. You lose your job because you make a bad decision, rewind time, change the decision. Everything is easier if you can go back in time. What are you most looking forward to learning at Hogwarts? Apparition and disapparition, that would be cool. Transfiguration, also cool. Flying on a broomstick, also cool. Hexes and jinxes, surprisingly also cool. All about magical creatures, very cool. And secrets about the castle, very cool. Or every area of magic I can. That feels like a cop-out. I think by a long way I would want to be able to apparate, to teleport. Which of the following would you most like to study? Centaurs, goblins, merpeople, ghosts, vampires, werewolves, or trolls? I think centaurs. Ghosts is a close second. You and 2 friends need to cross a bridge guarded by a river troll who insists on fighting one of you before he will let you pass. Do you attempt to confuse the troll into letting all 3 of you pass? Suggest drawing lots to decide which of you will fight, or suggest all 3 of you fight without telling the troll? Or all of us fight without telling the troll, obviously. If a troll is insisting on the fight, that's it. Okay, we're not playing clean anymore. We're more likely to cross if all 3 of us team up. One of your housemates has cheated in a Hogwarts exam by using a self-spelling quill. Now he has come top of the class in charms, beating you into 2nd place. Professor Flitwick is suspicious of what happened. He draws you to one side after his lesson and asks you whether or not your classmate used a forbidden quill. What do you do? Now this is different from the question we had earlier, because I wouldn't come forward with the information, but if I'm asked, I don't know if I'd lie, but I also wouldn't want to get the other person in trouble, so I think I'd just be like, oh, I don't know what happened. So tell Flitwick you ought to ask your classmate, sort of suggests that they're guilty already. Tell Professor Flitwick the truth, absolutely not. You would not wait to be asked by Flitwick, you would tell the teacher before the absolutely not. I think I'd lie and say I don't know. I think that, but I'd probably be like, oh, I don't know, maybe you should ask him. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just be like, I think you ought to ask my classmate. Do you know what I mean? I would lie. Which nightmare would frighten you the most? Standing on top of something very high and realizing suddenly there are no hand or footholds, nor any barrier to stop you falling. That does sound quite scary. An eye at the keyhole of the dark, windowless room which you're locked in, also terrifying. Waking up to find that neither your friends nor your family have any idea who you are. That's the worst one by far. So being forced to speak in such a silly voice that hardly anyone... No. If no one knew who I was, horrifying. The idea of your existence being wiped from history and everyone's memory. The end of Spider-Man Far From Home. No thank you. No Way Home, not Far From Home. Which road tempts you the most? The wide, sunny, grassy lane, the narrow, dark, lantern-lit alley, the twisting, leaf-strewn path through the woods, or the cobbled street lined with ancient buildings. Ancient buildings in a cobbled street. There's a street like that not far from where I live, and it's very picturesque. Late at night, walking down the street, you hear a peculiar cry that you believe to have a magical source. Do you proceed with caution? Probably not. Draw your wand and try to discover the source? Probably not. Draw your wand and stand your ground? Probably not. Withdraw into the shadows and await developments while mentally reviewing your most appropriate defensive and offensive spells should trouble occur? Probably that one. Heads or tails? Tails never fail. Left or right? I have this lucky mole on my left hand, so I would always pick left, even though I'm right-handed and right-footed. Okay, so we are most Gryffindor, second most Slytherin, third most joint with Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff. I'm having an identity crisis. I've had Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Gryffindor so far. At least I haven't had Hufflepuff, I suppose, which was the whole point. Look how close Gryffindor and Slytherin were, though. Painful. Okay, now we've got the IDR Labs Hogwarts House test. And this is more agree to disagree on certain situations by the looks of things, which I think is actually really good in terms of developing like personality analysis, more than just pick one of these abstract options. Like, what would you do in this situation feels a bit more telling. If we get Hufflepuff at the end of this though, it's going to be 1 for each. Please just get Slytherin one more time and that's it. Job's done. I seek vengeance when I have been wronged. I do not. Not ever. Others see me as kind-hearted and well-intentioned. I would say quite strongly. Quite strong. That would be one of my strongest identifiers, is always trying to do the right thing. Sounds kind of Hufflepuff, doesn't it? I look down on people who unwisely share their secrets. Not really, no. Personally, I wouldn't so much, but I don't look down on them. It's boring to discuss philosophy. Absolutely not. I love philosophy. I took an A-level in philosophy. Really enjoy it. Particularly Anselm's ontological argument. I can be manipulative and sway others when the situation requires it. I don't think so. I feel like manipulative gives this a really negative skew. I would say I'm quite persistent and quite strong-willed. I wouldn't say I like to... I forgot to level up my Slytherin appeal, so not that I'm trying to manipulate this question or this test, of course. So manipulative sounds really negative, and I don't think I'd like to manipulate people into agreeing with me, but I am persistent and I am quite strong-minded, to the point where if I believe something to be right or true or the best option, I will stand my ground and I will fight for that thing that I believe in. So I wouldn't say I manipulate, but I would say that I can make my point, and oftentimes that might sway others. So we're going to stay neutral for that one. I keep track of sensitive information that can be used to hurt people at a later time. Even if I wanted to, I am not good at remembering things. My memory recall isn't great. Good at taking in information, and in the short term I can recite it, but a week later, you've lost it. I wouldn't be tempted to use counterfeit money, not even if I was sure I could get away with it. That's tough. I should say no, of course I wouldn't. If I was sure I'd get away with it, like money is such a social construct anyway. If this counterfeit money goes into circulation and no one knows it's counterfeit, is anyone really being harmed? I give it to a shopkeeper, the shopkeeper gives it to the bank credits their account with it and gives it to somebody else who uses it. If it's that good as counterfeit money, who's the victim? So I wouldn't be tempted is incorrect. I would be tempted, not completely, not all the way down, but slight disagree. I'm very active during my waking hours and don't spend much time doing nothing. I spend a lot of time on social media scrolling, but technically that's my job. So does that count as doing nothing? We'll stay neutral. Even when people have wronged me, I find it easy to forgive and forget. Depends how they've wronged me. If they wrong somebody I care about, hard to forgive and forget. And if they really violate a principle that I find to be important, then it's much harder to forgive and forget. So it depends on the crime, so to speak. We'll stay neutral. I prefer to be one of the teammates to being the one calling the shots. If we're talking in sports, I can be quite communicative. I will organize a backline in a football match. So I kind of disagree. I don't love the pressure of being the one calling the shots, but I don't hate it either. I openly show my impatience when others get in the way of progress. Absolutely not. I am almost to a fault. I pretend like I'm not feeling impatient, like even to the point where I am boiling with rage inside, because come on, you can get this. Outwardly, I feel like I'm still like, no, come on, it's okay, you've got time, just figure it out, we're almost there. So on an interpersonal level, if we're talking about like a project or something that we're working on, I'm fine. If we're talking about progress in terms of societally, if we're talking about my impatience with bigots and Tories, then I am very impatient with them, but I feel like that's not what this question is asking. Question 12, halfway. When I feel threatened, I'm often inclined to back down. I don't know if back down is the right terminology. I will try and find a diplomatic resolution. Like, I won't want to fight you, but I will try and talk it out and come to a resolution in a sort of pacifist kind of way. We'll stay neutral again. I usually have a strong influence on decision-making in groups. Depends on the group, really, and also depends on how comfortable I am with that group. Like, I've had management positions in work before, but then we'll go slight agree, but not strong agree. I sometimes spend more time fine-tuning definitions, concepts, or techniques than is probably prudent. How do you fine-tune definitions? Surely the definition of something is its definition. We'll stay neutral because I don't really understand. I strive to be someone who spreads enthusiasm among my friends, colleagues, and loved ones. Absolutely agree. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I can have a little moan, but in general, I like to think I'm quite enthusiastic. I push myself very hard when trying to achieve a goal. Not super agree, but somewhat agree. I always wanted to be a content creator, and here I am. I sometimes look through an encyclopedia just for fun. Depends on the encyclopedia. If it's like an encyclopedia for a fandom that I love, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, things like that, I will spend time pouring through it and I will love every second. But if you're going to give me an encyclopedia on geology, even though geology rocks, I probably wouldn't spend that much time pouring through it. So we're going to go mild agree, because there are caveats. I wouldn't pretend to like someone just to get them to do favors for me. I would pretend to like someone even if it wasn't to get favors from them. Even if it was just to keep the peace and be civil and not be an arse. Like, what's the alternative to pretending to like someone? Being awful to them? I guess you could just stay neutral and stay out of their way, but I feel like I'm overly friendly even with people I don't like. So I don't know how to answer this one, because I agree I wouldn't pretend to like them for favors, but I'd pretend to like them just in general. We'll go neutral. It's okay to lie if it's the best way to handle a situation. If it's the best way to handle the situation, that is a key part of the phrasing here. I strongly agree. If you can find a good resolution without lying, great, but if it's the best way, absolutely agree. When I hear tales of the past and words from ancient languages, or see the ruins of old monuments, it fills me with excitement. Pretty neutral, to be honest. I find it interesting when you hear about ancient civilizations and stuff, but I wouldn't say it fills me with excitement. I often think that people should make more of an effort to be kind-hearted and respect one another. It's so Hufflepuff, but I strongly agree. I enjoy analysis for its own sake and find less joy in planning or carrying things out. I'm pretty neutral. Analysis in general isn't fun, necessarily. I often use abstract and complex words in my writing and speech. Oh, balderdash, that would be so platitudinous of me. Somewhat agree. I find it natural to take charge when others are at a standstill. Somewhat. If they're at a standstill already, then maybe I would try and be like, look, come on guys, we're not getting anywhere, let's give this a go. We'll go agree, but not strong agree. Okay, fourth test, come on. It's pretty obvious what I want, okay? It's pretty obvious, come on. Are you kidding me? We finally got hit by the yellow curse of the badger. Damn it! I thought I was going to get through all this without being a Hufflepuff. It feels like the more I've embraced Slytherin, the further away from it I've gotten. Okay, we've got each house one time, so we need a tiebreaker. We found one, I don't know how good it is, no one's recommended this one to me, but it's starting with a question about a PowerPoint presentation, so it can only be of the highest quality. You are making a PowerPoint presentation for class. You take charge and organize everyone, do as little as you can, do a little of everything, do most of the research and writing, but let other people make it flashy. I feel like I do a bit of everything. A little bit of research, a little bit of analysis, a little bit of design work, throw those cool transitions in there. Do you cheat in class? You try not to, but sometimes it's the only way to stay afloat. I don't think I ever really cheated in school. I didn't really feel the need to. When you die, you hope to be wealthy enough to provide for many generations of your family. That would be cool. Have achieved success and traveled the world. I would like to have traveled the world. Be surrounded by lifelong friends is fine, but also I don't think the longevity of friendship is implicit in its strength. Sounds like something that Dumbledore would say. The longevity of friendship is not implicit in its strength. Have learned everything there is to know. I think the wealth is the main thing. You know what I was talking about earlier, how even though money doesn't buy happiness, it takes care of all the stresses so you can focus on the things that bring happiness? That's what I'm going for. That's what I want. You see a group of bullies picking on a nerd. Do you yell in their faces, reach out to the nerd, sympathize with the nerd but walk on by, think it's a little bit funny? Well look, I don't think I'd yell at the bullies, especially if it's a group, like putting myself in a dangerous situation as much as I'd like to. I don't also want to be attacked. So I think I'd reach out to the nerd afterwards. Pretty cowardly, huh? Which of these would most improve your life? Saving more money, learning a new skill, protecting yourself online, taking a trip, learning a new language, or getting HBO? It's gotta be the money, for the reason I keep coming back to, and I'm gonna seem like I'm really materialistic. For what it's worth, I hate capitalism. I hate that it's necessary to have money for all these things. But the fact that you do, and it brings all this stress, I think that's what I'm going for. Like, one trip would be great, but if I had a bunch of money, I could go on multiple trips, you know? What is holding you back from your dreams? I genuinely feel like I'm living my dream. I create stuff that I love for a living. I'm my own boss. I have a puppy. I live with the person that I love most in the world. I get to travel and work with cool brands. I genuinely feel like I am living my dreams, which is really, really fortunate and lucky. Which of these entertainment professions most appeal to you? Agent, screenwriter, major movie star, or entertainment lawyer? I think I'd like to be a writer. I think that would be cool. How do you flirt with someone you like? You don't. You tell someone straight up if you like them. No. You try to have a real deep conversation. You make witty jokes and smile coyly to charm the pants off of them. You deliver a great cheesy pickup line and wink at them. I feel like I would try and just be as much myself as possible, which is really witty, brilliant joke. Okay, in high school, your favorite extracurricular was football. You get home from the corner shop and notice you were a little undercharged. Do you drive back? If I was in the doorway of the shop and I hadn't really left yet, I would probably give it back to them. But to drive all the way back, especially if it's only a couple of dollars, I'm probably just gonna, you know, ignore it and maybe like put some money in the charity pot next time I go shopping. Your idea of a worthwhile summer vacation is hanging out and catching up with friends, parachuting and diving off the cliffs, absolutely not, curling up with a good book, or summer school. It's either going to be hanging out with friends or curling up with a good book. I want to go on a trip, but I don't want to go parachuting or diving. It's sort of like, it's all three of these. I want to go on a trip with friends and curl up with a book. I am divergent. I think of all of these, it would just be chilling at home with your friends, right? You hear that a girl in class just switched to writing the same essay topic you've been working on since September. I don't really think that's a problem. You can both write about the same topic for an essay. Hell, most of my essays in school, we were all given the same topic and we had to write the essay about it. I don't care. How do you get your time alone when you want it? Tell your friends it's reflection time and retreat to your room, cancel on a movie date with friends, disappear for long periods without a word, or do errands or go for a drive. I think I could be quite upfront. Like, I just need some time to chill in my own company. Okay, final one. When planning a group trip, you are the one who worries most about the plans, lets others worry about destinations and logistics, follow the leader and cast your vote when needed, or recommend some planning options, you're the backup leader. I think that one. On trips, I'm pretty flippant anyway. I'm like, oh, we'll just see where the day takes us. I'm happy to recommend some options, but I'm not going to be too hard on the logistics. Okay, moment of truth. We're tied, one for each house, which means that the final house from quiz number 5, the house I am in, I have to take a short survey. Okay, I think we're finally there. We did the survey. Check your email for a link to your customized results. Oh my God. They are really making me work for this. Okay, we've got the link. Here we go. I don't believe it. This might be the worst day of my life. How? How did I get Hufflepuff? You are reserved, rational, and down to earth. You work well with others and are a great team player. You always take a stand against injustice. I didn't even step in with the bullies. Who's taken a stand? Not me. The rest of it kind of does sound like me, to be fair. Not the result you wanted, I'll say. This video idea was stupid.